Hello everybody, hope you are doing well. Today we are going to be implementing the home view, which is this view. In today's video, I will try to implement it in a beginner friendly way and in upcoming video, I will show you how to implement in more advanced way. So hope you find this exciting and let's start code. Okay, so first thing, let's go to our home folder and create a new folder that we will call view, and we will also create another folder that we will call view model. Okay, perfect. In our view folder we will create a new file. From template it will be a SwiftUI view. We are going to call it home view, and in our view model we will create also a new file from template. It will be a Swift file, and we are going to call it home view model. Okay, and I'm going to start with my view model. We are going to import observation, and here it will be at observable class home view model. Okay, and as many of you will probably guess, as you can see, we got a number of items. So we are going to need an array of items, and we already created before a model called items. So we are going to create an array of items. So here we are going to have var items. It will be an array of items, and it will be equals dot init. For id it will be uuid dot uuid string. For item name I will give it an empty string, because as you see, for now I only need the image. I don't really need anything else. So for is selected it will be false, and for the image name I will give it post1. Okay, and if I go to my asset folder, as you can see, I got post1, post2, post3, so it's from my asset folder. Okay, I will copy and paste this a few times so it becomes a good array that I can test later. Okay, and this one will be called post2, post3, post4, post5, post6, post7, and post8. And like I said, for now I don't really care about the item name and is selected and all that stuff. For now I only need the image. Okay, now I need to go to my home view and call my view model. So it will be at state private var view model, and it will be equal to home view model. Okay, which is perfect. Now if I check this, as you can see, this is a VStack, and in this VStack we got this element that is clearly a VStack that contains a text and a rectangle, and then I got this element that is a stacked grid. So let's start with the easy one. So let's start with the VStack, and let's start with the easy one. So we got a VStack. Okay, and inside my VStack I got this element, which is a VStack that contains a text and a rectangle. So another VStack. This one will have a spacing of 0, and here we got text that says all with a font of dot title 2 and the font weight of dot semi-bold. After it we got a rectangle with a frame of width and height of 32 and 5. Okay, perfect. And now we are going to use to implement this staggered grid. And as you can see, this view is also used here. So before I create it, let's create a reusable component. So let's go here and create a new file from template. And I'm not going, apologize, not in my home view. I will go to component, under view. I want to create a new file from template. It will be a SwiftUI view. And I'm going to call it staggered grid. Okay, perfect. And before I start implementing it, let's start discussing. If I look to my staggered grid, the first thing probably everyone will notice is that we got an array of items. So let's pass an array of items. So first thing, I will need private var items, and it will be an array of items. Okay, perfect. The second thing is that here we got 2 columns. And if I go here, we got 3 columns. So it's not really very genius to know that we need a number of columns variable. So we will have here private var columns, and it will be an integer. Okay, and because they are both private, we need their initializer. Okay, perfect so far. Okay, and here we got to call our staggered grid, so we need to pass columns too, and for the items, I will take the one from the view model for now, just so I can see it on my preview. So I will copy this, paste it here, and give it the items here. Just so we can test it on the preview without the need to go back to the home view. Okay, hopefully everything will be still working perfectly. Okay. The second thing I want to do now is, as you can see, this is a scroll view. Okay, it will be scroll view. For access, it will be dot vertical. And to be honest, I know that here I'm displaying the scroll indicator, but I prefer without the scroll indicator. So let's do dot scroll indicators, and let's make it dot hidden. Okay, perfect. Now we need to discuss how we are going to implement this. Okay, and the logic behind it. So the first thing we need to understand is we got an array of items, and we need to loop through each item and distribute them across the column in a zigzag pattern. So we got, for example, in this case, 2 columns. When here post 1, for example, will be in column 1, then post 2 will be added to column 2, then post 3 will be added to column 1, then post 4 will be back to column 2. And the reason behind this is because we need each column to be filled independently, so that when our item got different heights, it won't leave some awkward gap, because as you can see, it doesn't matter if the height is different. In the end, we got always the same gap, and that's what gives us this nice Pinterest layout. Okay, so the first thing we need is a function to set up our list. This function will return us an array that contains a few arrays of the columns. So a 2-dimension array, which is maybe a terrifying name for people who didn't work with a 2-dimension array, but it's very easy. So let's start by coding, and I will explain every line so you understand that it's really easy. Okay, so we will start with function setup list, and it will return us a 2-dimension array of type item. Okay, So many of you are wondering what is a two-dimension array of a type item, or what is, first of all, a two-dimension array. A two-dimension array is in the end an array of arrays. So instead of having an array of string or an array of integer, we are going to return an array of array. And the reason behind this, because for example, let me show you something. Okay, let's comment it. For example, here, because like I said, I want to fill each column independently. So in the first, I want to have an array of column 1 and a second array also of column 2. That's what I want really. That's why I'm going to return a two-dimension array. Okay, and we will start with var greet array. It will be of type two-dimension array of type item, and it will be equal to array with repeating which will be an empty array and count 2. Some of you may be wondering what does what I just wrote mean. It does mean in the end that in this case when I give it 2 columns, he will return me an array that has 2 arrays that are both of them empty. So we are going to start with with an array that contains 2 empty arrays. If I had, for example, count 3 instead of 2, it will be an array that got 3 empty arrays. Okay. Because I want now to fill them with the content, but in a zigzag pattern. Okay. Now I need to keep track of also of which column it's currently filling. So I need to start with var current index. It will be of type integer and it will be equal to 0. Okay, so I will start with current index of 0, which means I'm going to start with column number 1. Okay, and here I'm going to do for each item in items, and here it will be greet array, or I apologize, I wrote for each, it's for, I apologize, greet array of current index, and we will append dot item. So in other words, what I just wrote now is when it's okay, we start with column 1 and I'm going to append all the item to column 1 so far. But I'm now going to do a test. So in other words, I want to start by filling column 1 by the first post, then go to column 2, then go back to column 1, then again go column 2. So after that, I will do a test. So if current index is equals to columns -1, okay. In our case, for example, here it's we got 2, so columns -1 means equal 1. Okay, in our case, we are in the else now because it's still 0. Okay, here for example, we are starting with current index equals 0. So now we are not. So you are in the else. In the else, it means we do current index plus equal 1. And here it will be current index equals 0. Okay, so let me explain what we just did. Okay, we are in column 1. When we start, like I said, current index equals 0. So we are going to do append, so we are going to add the first post, which is this one. Then we are going to our if. We are going to do the test, we are going to find ourselves in the else. So we are going to add +1. So the next post when we do is going post 2, is going to find itself being added to column 1. After we do appended, we are going to do the test again. And now, because we are equal to column 1, we are going to restart from 0. And that way, we are able to distribute the items across the columns in a zigzag pattern. That way we are sure that it doesn't matter if they got different heights, it won't leave any awkward gaps because like I said, the columns are being filled independently. So column 1 is being filled alone and column 2 is being filled alone. And after I'm done with the for, I will return grid items or grid array, I apologize. And this is the most important part of the whole video because all the rest is really easy. It doesn't really, it's just simple UI after that. Okay, so let's go back here. We need, because as we said, we are going to return two arrays. So now we need an A stack to have them horizontally. So we will have an A stack with an alignment of dot top and the spacing of 10. And here we are going to do for each, and we are going to use finally our two-dimension array of type item. So for each set up list with ID of slash dot self. We are going to return a column data. Of course, column data in, I forgot that. And here, most of you, I guess, will already have guessed, we will use a lazy vstack. We can also use a vstack, but let's use a lazy vstack. We will give it a spacing of 10. And here, it's very easy. We'll use our column data. So for each column data, and here, as you can see, this is a vstack where you got an image and below it another image. So here, okay, and for each, I think it's uppercase. Okay, and already we are showing the ID, which is perfect, the item ID, but we want the image, so we are going to display image of item dot image name. It will be dot resizable. It's really very easy this part. Now it's aspect ratio of dot fill, a frame of max width of dot infinity, and I want it to be clipped, and it will be dot clipped. Okay, and it's already looking nice. The other thing, as you know, like I said, it needs to be a vstack because we got two images, so it will be inside a vstack. And as you can see, the other image is trailing, so let's give it an alignment of dot trailing. And after this image, we got another image. It's from our SF symbol, so system name, and it will be ellipsis. I will give it a dot image scale of dot large. Okay, so let's wait for it, and hopefully everything will be working perfectly. Okay, and it's taking a little bit too much, so let's also add the padding of dot vertical, and hopefully everything will be perfect. If I go to, I will call my staggered view in my home view, so here I will call staggered grid, I apologize, and I will give it a view model dot items, and for columns it will be 2, and hopefully everything will be working perfectly. And by the way, in today's video I tried to make it to explain as much as possible and to keep it beginner friendly, but okay, apparently there is okay, I see the problem, so I wrote image twice, so hopefully now everything will be working perfectly. Okay, so let's do it in the home view. Okay, perfect. As you can see, it's really beautiful. Let's go to our main tab view and add home view. Here, let's add home view. And hopefully everything will be working perfectly. As you can see, it's beautiful. Very similar to what we got here, so I'm really proud of what we achieved. Of course, we can always clean a little bit the code. For example, this VStack, we can create, for example, an item card. So instead of this, we can do extract subview and do refactor, rename, and call it item card. Okay, we may need also to pass the item, so private var item of type item, and we need an initializer, of course, and we need here to pass the item. Okay, hopefully everything will be working perfectly, and I wanted to say that in this video I didn't want to use any of the advanced concepts like view builder or generics, but in upcoming video I will show you how to do it using more advanced techniques like I said, generics and view builder. Those of you who downloaded the source code from Patreon and saw the code, you can know that I wrote it using view builder and generics. It's more advanced, but for now I will, like I said, show you the easy way. Then hopefully in upcoming video I will show you how to improve our code and write it in a more professional way. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, please like and subscribe, and as always, stay safe, stay healthy, and see you in the next video. Bye bye.